I'm really excited to talk to Emily Paulson today. Emily, tell us more about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, for sure. So I am an author, writer, and recovery advocate. So I am 7 years sober. That led me into recovery coaching, facilitating addiction awareness, which led me to write my first book, which then led me to create a group for sober moms. And then through my process of writing, I ended up writing my second book, which comes out in a couple of weeks.
Emily, you have gathered a large following for each one of your ventures, and so tell us a little bit more how you got to the point where you thought I need to set up the Sober Mom Squad. I need to write a book about my journey. Tell us a little bit how that came about.
Yeah, so I got sober in the beginning of 2017, and writing was always a part of my life. I always journaled. I was the person who was always, writing strongly worded emails and deleting them. Like that's how I got through my feelings and process things. And so when I got sober, it was really a way for me to unpeel how I had gotten there and what the next right thing to do was, working with a therapist and working with a sponsor and all those things. And by the end of 2 years of doing this, I had this chronology, this almost 40-year chronology of my life. And I had really figured out, like, wow, this is why I used alcohol here. This is why it became a coping mechanism. This is why I felt trapped in mommy wine culture. And I thought this would be great to write about because books, reading, blogs, everyone else's story was so helpful for me. I thought this could be another thing that helps people. And so that really led me to write the first book. And through that process, when I was becoming a recovery coach and learning more about addiction, and I started working with women one on one, I found that that's what I really love doing. And so I started leaning more into that. And then the pandemic happened. So that caused a big shift because now I was home. I've got 5 kids. I was home with all my kids. My husband was working at home, and it just didn't work. Like I didn't end up going on a book tour. I didn't do all that stuff. I couldn't work one-on-one over Zoom with women anymore. And so I thought, well, what can I do? And there was really a lack of online support for sobriety. AA hadn't yet gone online. There just wasn't a lot of touch points. And then the feedback I was getting from women was, hey, I never considered that I had a problem with alcohol, but now I'm home and I'm drinking more than ever. And now my kids are seeing me and I'm concerned. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to throw together a Zoom call every Wednesday. And it was really well received, and a lot of people showed up. And over time, women were just asking for more offerings, like, can we have more meetings? Can we have coaching? Can we do this? Can we do that? And can we have a book club? And so it just grew from there. And I've just continued to pivot as, women have asked for more. So it really filled a need that I think was there all the time that I don't think I would have filled had the pandemic not happened. It was really one of the great things that came out of it.
I love that story, Emily. It's very powerful. Emily, what would you say is your main motivator going forwards with all of those experiences and having filled all of these sort of needs that the women of your community put forward?
I think the thing that has really helped me is asking questions and really being open to the fact that I don't know everything. And I've always loved learning. I've loved, being a student. I've loved going to school. I've loved all that, but also being open to the fact that your opinion can change. And as knowledge changes, the things you do can change. And so I found this obviously to be true with my drinking, that something that maybe worked for a while, the status quo that I had, when I really examined whether it was actually working in my life and realized it wasn't, I just continue to do things like that with my life. Like, is this really working for me? Does this fit my priorities? Is this something I really want to do? That has really helped me, like, always do the next right thing.
Emily, would you say that the moment you decided to become sober, is that sort of your superpower? Is that where you understood that you are onto something that could lead to the next thing and the next thing? Or what would you say is sort of the thing that makes you so good at what you do now?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say sobriety like unlocked a lot of potential I didn't know was there. And there were a lot of issues that I had that I didn't know were attributed to alcohol. So it was definitely like a turning point in my life. But I think beyond that, it's not so much just removing the alcohol, it's what was I using it for? What was I replacing it with? And with other things, this is different for everybody. Maybe it's the overspending and shopping, or um, you know, whatever it is, relationships that are inappropriate, or, um, you know, whatever. Like there's a lot of different like distractions that we use to numb and cope. So I think, again, asking myself, like, what do I really need here? And what's just a band-aid? That I think that has, becoming sober has helped me realize that I can trust my own intuition if I really like listen hard enough.
Thank you for saying it so beautifully, and I love that explanation. Emily, what top tips would you give other women? For example, women who really want to jump off the wagon, to really to take that step to say enough, I'm quitting alcohol.
Yeah, I think the first step is really, again, asking yourself, like when you're reaching for that drink at 5 o'clock, and asking yourself, what is this doing for me? What do I actually need? Am I feeling stressed? Maybe I could go for a walk. Am I feeling like I need to escape? Maybe I need to, you know, schedule a vacation, or, whatever. If there's maybe I need to take time after work and listen to a podcast in the car or something. Is there some way that I can like decompress without alcohol? And then also looking at the things we believe, like I personally believe to be true that alcohol relaxed me, until I really looked at it and I was like, wait a minute. Okay, it relaxed me for a second. And then I'd be really anxious and need more. And then in the morning, I was like a disaster of anxiety. So it really wasn't helping. And if it was helping, I wouldn't have to drink it every day. Right. So once just asking those questions, and then no judgment, no, just really like taking that inventory of yourself and asking yourself, like, is there something else I could use to fill this need? And just really being honest about that, being honest about how it makes you feel, and how much better could your life be without it, rather than, oh, what am I going to be missing? Instead of like the deprivation, what do I really want? And does this fit into that?
Emily, tell us a little bit more about your books. First, the first one, and then the second one, which is obviously not out yet. Give us a little snippet of what's to come.
Yeah. So the first book really is my recovery story, and how, again, how alcohol came into my life, how I use unhealthy coping mechanisms, how I really tried to escape and use all these geographical moves to like escape who I was and change who I was, and how getting sober made me realize all of these things, and how I really repaired and made amends for, that whole like life of drinking. And I, through that process of writing, the book really, it helped a lot of people. And I was surprised. I don't know if I was surprised, or, it was validating, I guess, when people reached out and they're like, wow, I really identified with this one thing you said. Like there was something in the book that everybody could kind of identify with, as a woman, or someone, married to a woman, or with a sister or a mom, that, really, really stuck with them. And so when I decided to write my second book, it seems like a different topic altogether. It's about the MLM industry, multi-level marketing industry. And I started realizing that this little side gig that I had become involved in was really another remedy that I was using to try and escape, to try and fulfill some need, some lack that I had. And getting sober made me realize that there were a lot of things that I was questioning about it. So again, I leaned into those questions. I asked more questions. I listened to my intuition. And eventually I did leave that company. And in the same way, with the first book, I thought, this is information I think that needs to be out there. This is an experience that I'm realizing other people have had and they're not talking about it. And, I would love that to be out there so people feel less alone and also can be more informed about what's going on.
Emily, you mentioned earlier you have 5 children, and obviously you have many different roles. You're an author, you run a sober mom squad, you're a mom to 5, you're a wife. Tell me a little bit how you get it all done.
Yeah. Well, I will say my kids are older, which is like such a game changer. You know, my youngest is 11 and my oldest is 18. So they're very self-sufficient. I've got 2 kids who drive. So really, I've been able to do a lot of this because of that. If they were all really little, there was a reason that I didn't go back into the workforce when they were little because it was really hard. There's a lot of moving parts. I ask for help. I do delegate a lot of stuff. I feel like I've learned that sometimes it's easier to do things yourself, but that if in the long run, if you can teach someone else, hey, this is how you load the dishwasher. May not be done as perfectly as I like it, but gosh, that's one thing off my plate. And so we're really like my family is really a team. And we all support each other when we need to, when we pick up the slack, when someone's having a rough day or they're sick. So I think just the teamwork of our family is what has helped made it work. And I also have the privilege of having a spouse who has, a job. And so I, am privileged in that sense that I can be a writer, which, isn't like the most lucrative thing in the world. And I can be there for my kids. So again, that's a privilege that I definitely recognize.
Thank you for talking about it so honestly, Emily. Emily, what are your plans or dreams for your future? Where is your life heading? What are your goals?
Yeah. So, my book comes out in a couple of weeks. And so I really am just kind of going to see where it takes me. I love writing and I think I will write more. I think I may write fiction next. I don't know. But, I have ideas and really, my oldest is graduating this year. And, I'm really going to take the summer to like spend time together as a family because, it's our last summer all together really. And, uh, so I don't feel an intense pressure to like decide what I'm going to do. I'm just going to kind of see where life takes me because the last few years that's really what I've done and it's all worked out. So I'm kind of hoping for the best.
Thank you so much for talking to me today, Emily. That was a beautiful conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much.